Hey kids, Rob Williams. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. This is Cynthia Murphy.
Hello. You know me for my article about the modeling audition as well as my videos, and I am now with Look at Us.
Look at Us is a nonprofit that I started that funds reconstructive surgeries and Baha hearing aids for children, and we do it all over the world. We certainly have an emphasis on Treacher Collins, but there are a myriad of different craniofacial anomalies that occur. But we'll talk today about Treacher Collins and answer some of your questions. We understand that you read the book Wonder, so pretty powerful. And so we'll start with Cynthia. What was life like growing up with Treacher Collins?
Definitely a little bit difficult. You have the insecurity, the bullying, kind of being like an outcast to other kids that don't suffer with the craniofacial disorder. So in that, it's difficult. You're outside of, the other children. They're not really able to relate to you. But, not all children are like that, but definitely had struggles and friendships growing up.
Well, and as difficult as it is, it's important to know that individuals with craniofacial difference are just normal people on the inside. I have a 13-year-old son that has Treacher Collins syndrome, and he's as normal and liked and as any person out there. He's a big surfer, beach volleyball player, plays guitar and sings. He has a lot of self-confidence. So it's hard growing up like that, but you have to eventually get to the point where the confidence comes from the inside out. And so that's good advice for anyone, no matter what your situation is, because everyone has something. But people that suffer from other things can sort of hide behind that quietly.
And, one thing, Rob, you've really helped me with is, if you're not scared, don't go into it. Fear. I mean, I have Treacher Collins, and I know not having enough confidence in myself has hurt me in my endeavors, my career, my education. So going in it and giving it your all, regardless of your insecurities, is going to get you far.
It's true. You got to do things outside your comfort level. And kind of my motto is do things scared. I started this nonprofit a year and a half ago. I never would have wanted to speak in front of people, do videos for kids. But I now speak at conferences all over the world. I travel to Haiti and Africa and Costa Rica, and we have programs in Mexico, and we meet these families who don't have the advantages that you have growing up in the United States, and their problems are multiplied. And it's really powerful for them to meet someone, my son, myself, someone who's overcome some adversity and realize that their child's normal and it's going to be okay. Cynthia, how many surgeries have you had?
I have had 16 plastic surgeries thus far, mainly on the face. I haven't had my ears done. My ears are still, I haven't really gotten much into that. Rob has, given me some resources in, looking into that, should I choose to.
And that's called microtia atresia. Microtia is little ear. Atresia is no ear canal. And that happens with a lot of different syndromes, not just Treacher Collins, or it can happen on its own without having a syndrome. And the Baha hearing aids, bone-anchored hearing aids, stimulate the bones. And so you'll see children and infants even wear them on their forehead, and it will still vibrate the bones and allow normal hearing. Nowadays, it's pretty cool. My son has Bluetooth on his, so he listens to music when he should be studying, things like that. But he's just a typical 13-year-old.
Yeah, lots of great new technology out there. So what...
Have you met other people with Treacher Collins?
I have met Regina. She still has the bone anchored with the wire, and I'm not sure if it has the box, but I believe Francis...
Kind of an old-fashioned aid, and the condition varies all over. Luckily, over the years with this nonprofit, I've met hundreds of people and hundreds of families. And although everyone's different in their own circumstances, it's the same story. difficult when the child's born, coming to grips with it emotionally, psychologically. But in the end, we're all the same. We're just like you and just like anybody else.
We have the same capabilities. Just go for it.
Go
Sure.
for it.
All right, so we are going to go through the questions here.
Not all the questions, just some of the questions, because there's some good ones, and then there's some not so good ones, like, did the surgeries hurt?
Of course, they were very painful. Let me express that. It is not easy getting your eyes cut up and your nose broken in 4 different areas. It's very painful, not something that I particularly enjoyed.
Well, and she's had 16. My son has had 10. I've had 6.
And
but
he's 13?
Yeah, my son's 13. But I've met people that have 70 surgeries.
Oh my
Their
gosh,
children
yeah.
has gone through that. It's remarkable. And I always tell the story. I live in California, so we're near the beach, and we drive up Highway 1, which follows the ocean, and have most of our surgeries at Stanford University. And we're in a suburban, and we know the doctors, we know what they're going to do. However, every surgery is tough on the parents, the child, and it's very profound. Multiply that exponentially, someone in Vietnam who walks from a village without shoes, who carries their food, who doesn't understand the language. What the doctors do is magic, and yet they turn the child over to them. And I can tell you, I've witnessed that it's the same experience. So surgeries are tough. It's expensive. It's financially draining for the families. Even with good insurance, that's where Look at Us comes in to fill in the gaps and to provide these hearing devices to kids who otherwise don't hear normally.
Yeah, and they have the no food, no water. So on top of all the economic disadvantage that they have on top of that, they can't hear. I mean, you have given some children the ability to hear for the first time. Experience that. That is profound.
That's a cool experience. And they, you see on the YouTube videos a little child that hears for the first time, is all excited. But a 6-year-old that really hears for the first time just goes into a shell, because you hear with your brain, not your ears. And your brain has to process that information, and it's overwhelming. But we had a child in South Africa who at 6 couldn't talk. A year later, he's just started school. His life is completely changed because he gets a device. And these devices, a Baja in the United States, $600, $500. However, in Mexico and other foreign countries, they can be $13,000.
Yeah.
And if you couple that with the exchange rate and the amount of money they earn, it's a possibility for these families. Now, we have an agreement with the manufacturers to buy them at a big discount, so we're able to get, for a little bit of money, get out there and provide a child hearing for the first time. If your school ever wanted to do a bake sale, and if you just could raise a few $1,000s, you'll give a child that I know personally that you'll be able to Skype with hearing. So that's always an idea for the future. Go to lookatus.org and check out some of our videos. They're kind of cool.
Definitely. They're very moving, powerful stories on there. So if you haven't already checked out the website, lookatus.org, very, very big thing. So
Cynthia, were you treated differently in school growing up?
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of cases where I was left out of, group projects. My friends were rather selective of me at times when they wanted to be more popular and they didn't really want me tagging along in that. So, I mean, it was definitely a roller coaster in school. I mean, I felt content sometimes, and then I felt not so content, like alone, which was honestly most of the time anyways, but I did have that bit of happiness in school.
That's good, because, everyone's story is different, and these similar but different, and so there's challenges, but everyone has challenges in life, and what we try to promote with Look at Us is you can't let it be an excuse. You can't let it be an excuse to fail. You can't let it's easy. No one would blame you. They'd say, hey, we understand. but the real world's out there. And so for my son, he goes to a regular school, regular friends. We don't protect him. We put him in good situations, but he's got to live his life without me. He's 13, and in 5 or 6 years, he's going off to college, and we're not here to protect him. And he's got to have that in himself, because it's not your business to know what other people think of you, and no one else controls how you feel about yourself. And that's a lesson for everybody, but especially for kids suffering with the craniofacial issue.
Definitely, I agree. There's a question on here. What kind of treatments are there? And I know that's kind of confusing for a lot, because, there's a certain level of trichocholins. I may not have it as bad as some others with the breathing issues. Mainly treatment, I would say, is plastic surgery. My cheekbones are fake. My chin was implanted. So basically the whole realm of your face, that is treatment. It's considered as plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, but also it's not for us. It's reconstructive.
That's right, and it's reconstructive, which is the key word, because insurance companies like to classify it as plastic surgery. If you're born without an ear or cheekbones or you can't breathe, that's reconstructive. And so that's part of the battles that we face ongoing is hassles with the insurance company.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, like when I was growing up getting braces, they had to extract pretty much all of my teeth. So rather than have 32 teeth, I have 22 teeth. And they were able to, as I was growing up, remove them, extract them, put my braces into place. And it's a lot of work.
It kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of work just to kind of get to that level of perfection.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's rough. If you had a choice to be born with trichocholins or not, it's a question I have mixed feelings on. But what are your thoughts?
I would say mixed feelings. I mean, I'm very grateful. I have no regrets. There are some things that I have experienced that I would have rather not experienced. But I can say that I don't know where I would be today if I didn't have this disorder. I feel like connecting with others like me has really just made me more comfortable with who I am, because there are so many worse obstacles out there, such as, with the mission of Look at Us, how they go out there and they help people really in need. And, I've been here, kind of depressed and sad in the past, thinking that, I had a horrible life, but it could be worse.
That could be a lot worse. And, the question for me is, well, you can't change it, so I'm not going to spend any time worrying about it. However, what I've decided to do with Look at Us is turn a negative situation into an extreme positive. And I speak to hundreds of families at a time around the world. And whether, next month I'm in Moscow, in the Netherlands, Australia, Mexico. And what I tell them is that you wouldn't have chosen this for your child. But great things will come out of it, really positive things. You'll meet people you never would have met. You'll be able to help other people. And in the end, your child's going to make you the person you should have been all along. And at that point, the mothers cry, and I still get goosebumps when I say it. And it's really true. So I don't look back on it, and I'm going to make something good out of it, actually something great out of it. And so that's our goal.
Yeah. So you know what? I came across this one question. Are there any limitations to your daily life with trichocholins? That, it varies. It really does.
It could be, a lot of children have trachs,
mm-hmm.
And where they have to breathe out of a trach in their throat. And that's a tough situation for a parent to deal with. Certainly issues with Bajas and swimming and being able to hear in the water, that kind of thing. But overall, no, these kids are normal children on the inside, just like anybody else. And I just can't stress that as much. And it's funny because they look out of their eyes. They're not looking at themselves all the time. And so it doesn't matter. And growing up for me, I was very confident. Had a lot of girlfriends in college,
Really? That's what you remind. My dad told me
A
all
lot.
about that too.
Like that's a whole other.
Oh my
talk.
gosh.
But you should see my family. You know, we're a great, beautiful family, and so no, you could use it as an excuse, and people do. I meet them all the time that pull their kids out of school and do this and that, but the real world's not going to stand by for you, so you have to make your own life.
Yeah. You know, I actually, I had a lot of boyfriends too, and you know, thinking of that, I know being in school for
Does
you
your husband
guys.
know that?
Yeah, no, he knows that. I mean, but you know, all the kids in school now, a lot of them suffer from I'm not good enough, even if they don't have Teresa Collins. And it's all about personality and who you are as a person. I think real, genuine people do see that. That's what gets you out there. It's not necessarily your appearance. I mean, holding back is what's going to hurt.
Look at the person sitting next to you right now. Look at them. You know, they probably don't look that great. Just kidding. But, that reminds me, it's a different world. It's a social media world. It's, which we didn't have as children. And that can make it rougher, or that can connect people and they can meet others. And I'm not a big fan of let's hang out with other people, treat your Collins or anything like that. But for young families, for parents of small children, they have a support group, which is fantastic. And so there are other groups that do that wonderfully. That are on my website. And so the world in a lot of ways is smaller. I think children are smarter these days. I think the bullying is less. Now, if you're getting bullied, it's not less for you. But I think kids have a broader perspective. Books like Wonder have helped. And you know, that's part of our role is to live as examples and advocates to do. And we're doing this video.
Well, the bullying, I don't know. I would have to say, I mean, it's less maybe in some ways walking through the school hallways. You're not going to get spitballs or trash cans, you know, like I did. But now you have the social media. You can make fake Facebooks. You could, call from a fake phone number, a number to text. And that's where, you know, bullying is a little bit of an issue today, but you know, for those out there that don't know, there are anti-bullying laws being put into place, and they are harsh, and we are not tolerating that. That's not how we should live our daily lives, worrying about going to school and who's going to pick on us next. I mean, I certainly dealt with that, and others too, and I think it's getting better.
And you know, those are the factors here in the United States. But if you look at third world countries, fourth world countries, Haiti, Asia, if someone's born with something simple like a cleft palate or, God forbid, Treacher Collins syndrome, those children are usually abandoned. They're put into orphanages or worse. And that's part of our mission for awareness, to let people know in those countries that these are normal children. There can be care. And with social media, it's amazing because it doesn't matter how poor you are. Chances are you have a phone. It's not an iPhone, but you have a phone, and you're on Facebook, and you have the ability to connect with other people. I get emails regularly that I always have to translate from countries all over the world. So it's the world's smaller, and hopefully that's a good thing overall. And social media, as much as I dislike it, because I don't care what you had for lunch. People from all over the world have contacted me, and I've been able to change their life through it. So the good for me has outweighed the bad.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree with him. Social media, to me, I mean, it takes out the ability to be able to personally relate to others rather than face-to-face contact, phone. But I do think it gives us the ability to know we're not alone. And it certainly helped me beyond measures I could even express. But,
you know, I hope that this talk has answered a lot of your questions. We're certainly available. Go to lookatus.org. You can send me an email. You can send Cynthia emails. And if you are inspired to help us, if you're inspired to reach out and help a child who has no other option, some of the most vulnerable children on earth, hey, we'd love to hear from you. And so please reach back out to us if you need anything. and I'm glad you watched. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, we certainly hope we addressed everything too, and we're here to kind of answer any questions or concerns as we go further into this. So thank you for watching.
Good luck. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.